Good morning, boys and girls. It's time for the Nuke Zone, baby. It is a gigantic week of college football. You got Texas A&M versus Samford. You got Alabama versus Eastern Illinois. You got Georgia versus Charlotte. It does not get any bigger than SEC Cupcake Week. I'm totally kidding with y'all. Those games suck, okay? But you get it here late in November. It always happens, and so be it. But there actually is some pretty big games, some that have major playoff implications. We're going to get into them, okay? You got Oregon USC. You got OU Missouri. A week ago, if I would have told you OU would be in this big-time playoff conversation, you might have called me crazy. And honestly, I kind of thought it was crazy too. I had Alabama. And then, bam, OU walks into Tuscaloosa and just takes over. They win the game. Simple as that. Now they're in the driver's seat for the playoff, and it all relies on them just not losing. They beat Missouri. They beat LSU. They're in. Simple as that. Am I wrong? No. All right, Georgia Tech and Pitt, major ACC championship playoff. ACC championship playoff. It's a big game. Okay, it may not seem like it. Pitt got murdered last week by Notre Dame, and Georgia Tech squeaks by Boston College. But I promise, it's a big game. Okay, both of them are one loss in the ACC. Who I would say whoever wins probably gets in, but there's a lot of chaos to be ensued, and Pitt still has to play Miami, so no guarantees there. And lastly, for me, BYU and Cincinnati, okay? BYU goes on the road as a 2.5-point favorite at Cincinnati. Could cause absolute chaos. If Cincinnati can win that game, there's a potential, I think, for like 4 or 5 teams to finish with 2 losses in the Big 12. Then who gets in? Huh? No telling, man. Absolute chaos is ready to be ensued. You love it. And then it's just a tune-up for next week, man. Next week is rivalry week, and I can't wait. But until we get there, we got to get into these, man. We're going to start off Oregon USC. Listen, it's a big one. Whether you believe it or not, College Game Day is there. Josh Pate is there. I am not there, okay? I'm broke, but moving on. Oregon USC. I mean, the winner puts himself in the driver's seat to make the playoff. And you're like, USC, USC could finish 10-2 if they win out. They beat Oregon, beat UCLA. They are 10-2, a one-loss Big Ten team. And honestly, there's a chance. I don't know. They could get in the playoff. Put it that way. This is big for them. Oregon, if they lose this game, I think they're on the outside looking in. I said it for multiple weeks now. I don't think 10-2 guarantees you a spot. And if Oregon loses this, they're not going to get in, I don't think. But if they win, I think it basically secures it as long as they don't drop one to Washington next week. But we'll see. Okay, Oregon has a tough road. You got USC at home, on the road at Washington next week. USC has this game, and then they got UCLA. USC's path is easier if they can come out with a win here. Okay, and that's going to be the tough part. Listen, this Oregon team statistically is one of the best teams in the country. You know what they do very, 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 very good? They run the damn ball. Okay, listen. Number 1 in the country in yards per carry, 6.3 yards per carry, number 1. They are number 8 in the country with 231 yards per game rushing. They can run the football. And you know what USC has struggled to do recently? Stop the run. Okay? Last 3 games, and then the 4th one, you're going to giggle. But Iowa, 183 yards rushing, 5.5 per carry. Northwestern, 130 yards rushing, 5.2 yards per carry. Nebraska, 188 total yards rushing, 4.7 yards per carry. But Emmett Johnson, 29 for 165, okay? I mean, honestly, we'll get into that in a minute. They probably lose that game for all it doesn't get hurt, but we'll get there in a minute. Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love, 228 yards. I'm saying his stats first because they had 306 as a team. Love, 9.5 per carry. Team, 7 yards per carry. It's the best backfield in the country between Love and Price. But you still gave up 306 on the ground. Okay? Michigan, though. Michigan can run the ball. I think everyone, when they think about Michigan football, you think about running the football offensively, right? Well, Michigan only had 109 on the ground. They only averaged 3.5 per carry. But that was a long time ago in this season, okay? This USC's defense it's not terrible, okay? For Lincoln Riley, this is an amazing defense. Probably the best defense on a Lincoln Riley team I've seen in years. Long time, ever maybe. I don't know. But can they slow down the run, okay? A few weeks ago, I said between Oregon and Iowa, whoever could run the ball better is going to win that game. Oregon ran the hell out of the ball. I think they had 261 on the ground. They averaged 7 yards per carry, something like that. Iowa did not. Okay, Iowa couldn't run the ball hardly at all. Oregon did. Oregon won. Simple as that. Okay. I don't think USC needs to stop the run. They got to slow it down. Because this Oregon passing offense, I don't know what we're going to get. Okay. I don't know who's healthy. I don't know who's playing. We don't know. Simple as that. Okay. But what we do know is Oregon can run the ball. I've already said it before. I'll say it again. They can run the football. Can USC slow it down? That's the big question. Can USC slow down the run defensively? I think if you slow down the run, you got a chance. You're going to have to force turnovers. You're going to have chaos, okay? You are on the road, hostile environment. You're going to have stuff fall your way, okay? Yeah, you can give up 28 points and still win this game, but you're going to have to get turnover. I think this might be like a classic Pac-style game, okay? You know the Pac-10, RIP, Pac-12, whatever you want to call it. It could be a game like that. I think USC needs to make it like that. Not a Big Ten style game. You try to make this whoever can run the ball better, I think you're going to get beat. But if you can make this some old school West Coast football, I think USC's got a big chance, okay? With that being said, sure, they don't stop the run, okay. Next up, can USC's offense go? Just go. Simple as that. I need you to go, 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 go. You got Mekhi Lemon. Absolute dog, one of the best receivers in the country. Simple as that. You got him. You got King Miller, who's averaging 7.3 yards per carry this year. You got Jacoby Lane. I think weapons-wise, just true weapons-wise, not an offense as a whole, but true weapon-wise, you might be better than anybody Oregon's played, and that includes Indiana. Okay, I think Indiana probably has a better quarterback, but Mendoza went for 215 on them. Elijah Surratt had 121 yards receiving on Oregon. Omar Cooper at 58. And I honestly think, you can say Indiana's group of talent is better. I'm not going to argue with you. They're undefeated for a reason. But these USC receivers, they're just as good, if not better, than the Indiana ones. And Mekhi Lemon, 71 catches, 1,090 yards, 8 touchdowns. The dude has 6 games with over 7 catches. He has 5 games with over 125 yards receiving. Okay? And Jacoby Lane is no slouch either. Got it? They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. Listen, running the ball-wise, USC's offense, they average 5.6 yards per carry. That's number 9 in the country. Okay, both these teams can run the ball. They average 191 a game. That's 24th in the country. Passing-wise, though, they throw for 298 a game. That's number 8. This USC offense, I think, is the best as a whole that Oregon's played. Okay, and that's where I question it, because the only other true good offense Oregon has played, what happened? They lost that game at home. Now, I am not saying USC is Indiana by any means, but I'm saying they have the skill level and the talent to be able to move the ball in this Oregon defense. Okay? Oregon is great defensively. Every single stat on this team is just basically amazing, except their red zone defense. The red zone defense is 131st in the country, but I think that also contributes to the fact that people don't really get there, right? So if you do get there, you might actually get the score. Okay? Let me get a drink. All right. So I've laid out the ways that, this is the best group of receivers they've probably seen. If not, it's the second best, but the first best still beats you in that case. Can these receivers get it going? Can Jade Maava hit them? Can they get a run game? Okay? If they can get a run game, it gets a little interesting. I think we're going to end up having a shootout. And I think Oregon wins the game. Oregon wins, USC covers. That's probably what I would say. But I don't think it's a blowout. I don't think Oregon just runs away from it. Listen, it's a 9.5-point spread. That is big. That is especially big for basically a playoff game between these two teams. All right? To me, it has the winner-go-home type feel. If Oregon loses, they are possibly out of the playoff. USC loses, they are absolutely out of the playoff. It is a playoff game. It's going to have a playoff feel to it, okay? Can USC's offense do enough? Can USC's offense make plays, make it happen, and keep up with scoring with Oregon's offense? That's what it's going to come down to. Because at the end of the day, I don't think USC's defense is going to stop them. Can they force turnovers? I don't know. We'll see. Can they just force chaos? USC needs chaos to happen when they are on the defensive side of the ball in a good way. If they can force turnovers, if they can get sacks, if they can just have havoc-type plays, they got you. Eric Gentry, you're going to have yourself a game, man. But slow down the run, cause chaos. Offensively, You got to get Lemon. You got to get Lane. You got to get Miller. You just got to get them going. Simple as that. You know why? Because on the road, USC, you have not been the same team, man. You're 2-2 on the road. You lost to Illinois. You lost to Notre Dame. Simple as that. On the road also, you beat Purdue. Okay, cool. And you beat Nebraska. And as I said earlier, do you beat Nebraska if Raul don't get hurt? I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I mean, you easily could be 1-3 in this situation, but you're not, and you still have a chance. You're going to need your best game on the road. And listen, I don't think we've seen Oregon's best game either. And if you see that Saturday, who knows? Maybe we get best on best. We just have an absolute ball game, and I would love to see it. I'm not going to count out a Lincoln Riley offense. Simple as that. I think they can score no matter what defense they play. Like, he's going to scheme something up. I'm never going to write them off, put it that way. I'm not saying they're going to just score 30 on Oregon. I ain't saying that. But I'm not going to write off Lincoln Riley and his offenses, okay? And I am never going to write off Dan Lanning. That man knows how to coach. I think we're going to have a ball game here in Eugene. Like I said, give me Oregon to win, USC to cover, okay? That's all I got to say. Moving on to the next one, baby. Good old SEC football. Thank you, OU, for playing somebody this week. Give me something interesting to watch. OU versus Missouri. OU, 8-point favorite, 7.5, 8.5. I've seen it all over the place. It's simple, okay? What is this OU defense going to do to this Missouri offense? I think that's totally what it comes down to, okay? Simple as that. This OU team, we speak on it, they get sacks, okay? And then all year they didn't get turnovers. And then the last 2 weeks, they get 3 each. All right? Versus Tennessee, 2 picks and a fumble. That went for 6. Last week versus Bama, 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles and a pick. The pick went for 6. Okay, listen. Venables teams always get turnovers, and all of a sudden they haven't. And then, bam, they just woken up out of nowhere, and then the offense died. Okay, the offense hasn't done nothing basically since Mateer came back from injury, but your defense is elite, absolutely elite. I mean, you beat Alabama without one of your best pass rushers. He's one of the best in the country in R. Mason Thomas, and you beat him without him, okay? And you basically beat 10 without him. He took the touchdown back, and he didn't play hardly anymore. Can you stop Ahmad Hardy? Okay, OU has the number 1 run defense in the country. Number 2, whichever way you want to look at, 2.3 yards per carry is what they allow, 78 yards per game. Missouri brings in, they rush ball over 5 yards per carry. They run the ball for 244 yards per game. Okay? Ahmad Hardy he ran for 300 last week. And I think it solely falls on that. Simple as that. If Missouri can run the ball, they might win the game, okay? If OU stops it, they win the game. If you make this true freshman Zollers, Herb Pavila may play, okay? I don't know. I don't care who's at quarterback, okay? Because your offensive line is 100th in sacks allowed percentage. OU is the number 2 in that category, okay? So if you take away the run from Missouri, you make them throw the ball. And as good as Missouri are at running the football, the run has been taken away from them a few games, okay? Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. Yeah, Mississippi State, 326 yards. A&M, 207. Vandy, 170. Hardy was the only one who really ran. They had 44 yards from a receiver in that game. So they lie to you a little bit there. Hardy was 20 for 97. But here's where I say the run has been taken away from them a little bit. Auburn, 44 for 91 yards. On the road, hey, Missouri's only played 2 road games this year. Keep that in mind as well. Auburn, 44 for 91. Hardy was 24 carries for 58 yards. This OU's defense is better against the run than Auburn. I don't know if you knew that. Against Alabama, 28 for 163. Hardy only had 52, and Jay Roberts had 50. What you don't know is he had 5 carries, 50 yards. Like, hell yeah, 10 yards per carry. I've said this in a recently video. 40 of them came in one play. Or about 30 something, 38 something like that. Almost all of them came in one single play. So it's 39. It was 39. So he had 4 carries for 11 yards. That's awful. What I'm saying is they have been susceptible to that run dying off, and when they have to turn to the pass, they are not the same team, okay? When they have to sit there and just throw the football, they are not the same team. They are especially not the same team with true freshman back there, Matt Zollers, throwing the football. Okay, if you make him have to throw the ball to beat you, you are going to win this game. Simple as that. OU, you are at home. You're on a mission. You got to execute. Now, offensively for OU, you've been basically dead since Mateer got hurt. You haven't hardly done anything on offense. I mean, Alabama outgained you 2-1 on everything last week. Alabama even outrushed you. Okay? But if OU can you just got to score a little bit, okay? I think 20 points probably wins this game, to be honest with you. Because your defense, I don't think is going to allow anything. But you're going to have to score points on offense, okay? You cannot rely on scoring defensive touchdowns or having big special teams plays. Breakout players, Cassius Howe. Yeah, I know. Anyways, OU, your offense, like I was saying, you're going to have to do something. You got to block up front. Missouri can get after the quarterback a little bit, right? Your offense line ain't the best. We know that, okay? I mean, you allow a 7.19 sack percentage. Missouri sacks quarterback almost 10% of the time. All right? They get after the quarterback too, just like you. Who's going to have the better? I mean, I think Missouri does have the better offense, okay? You have Ahmad Hardy. You're going to be better than a lot of people solely off that. But OU has a better defense. Simple as that. I've seen this Missouri defense get gashed a little bit. I mean, I watched Auburn put up some points on them. Auburn had a capable offense that game, right? Cobb was over 100. Coleman was over 100. If Mateer can just find himself how he was, I know he's not. I never thought he was great. I thought he was good, though. If he can find the good Mateer that we saw versus like Michigan early in the year, we see that type of guy, they win this game by 14 points. Okay? I think the defense is going to shut down Missouri, all right? And you can go back and be like, well, Justice Haynes rushed for 125 on him. What do you think Hardy's going to do? All right, 75 of those from Haynes came on one run. All right? So what is that, 18 for 50? I like those stats, okay? Kawan Lacey, 27 for 78. Chambliss was 12 for 53. And, I mean, that's not a bad game. But if you watched it, a lot of it was just short. And, bam, he busted a 28-yarder. All right? Tennessee, though, that's the real one right there. 35 for 63 yards. They didn't run the ball for nothing, right? Alabama only had like 80 yards rushing on them. Granted, Alabama don't run the ball. But Tennessee, 35 for 63. That's less than 2 yards per carry. All right? And I know the sacks are built into this and everything, and it's going to make the run D look better. But still, if you just go down the line and look at running back stats first, nobody's really ran the ball. Okay, everyone struggled to run the ball on OU. Everyone struggles to move the ball on OU for the most part. Don't come at me. But, yeah, I mean, and then, like I said, this OU defense, they're getting turnovers now. 6 in the last 2 games. In the last 4, they got 8. Ole Miss didn't get any, but they had 2 fumble recoveries versus South Carolina. They won turnover battle in 3 out of 4 of their last 4. Okay, Ole Miss is the only one that lost turnover battle. They were 1-0, and they lost that game. Okay, but since they lost that game, they have turned into a new team. Simple as that. They are playing dang good football since then on defense. Missouri, on the other hand, they're going to turn the ball over. All right. See, they had 2 last week versus Mississippi State. They had 2 versus A&M. They had 1 versus Vandy. They had 2 versus Auburn. Okay, but they do get a little bit of their fair share. But they've lost the turnover battle in almost every game. Okay, or they're 2-1-1. All right. I don't know, man. I mean, Missouri easily could come in here and they establish the run and stop OU's offense, and they get the upset on the road and just take away all this momentum OU had and shut them down from the playoffs. And it just causes more chaos. And I am not going to rule that out. But I think this OU team sells out to stop Hardy, and they do that. And then they cause Zollers to have to throw their way into this game. And I think it just falls apart for Missouri at that point. And I'm taking OU solely off that. I think the offense will probably score about 14 to 17 points. And I'm not even going to rule out another defense touchdown, special teams touchdown. Give me OU like 24-27. Like, they're going to have 24-27 and maybe give up 10, okay? 10-13, something like that. OU, give me OU all day. All right, what was on the back of that one? All righty. Georgia Tech and Pitt. All right. Haynes King, can you will Georgia Tech to another victory? You're at home at night, 2.5-point favorites. Pitt's supposed to be great against the run. I mean, everybody preached that to me last week, and I said they haven't played a backfield like Notre Dame. What happened? Jeremiah Love ran it right through them. Well, Georgia Tech don't have a Jeremiah Love. I will say that. But they do have a Haynes King. All right, when he starts limping, the X factor's starting up. All right. If Haynes King can run the ball on them, they're going to win the game. Simple as that. This Georgia Tech defense, they're not good. I mean, they almost got beat on the road at Boston College last week in the look-ahead spot. There's been multiple games and he just finds a way to win. Simple as that. They got the one loss NC State, and he still threw for look at his stats right now. He's throwing the ball too. I know he's not the most accurate guy at all, but this dude's stats are great. And listen, he is going to do everything he can to win. He's Texas made, man. He's from East Texas. He can run the football. He's going to do everything he can to run through you. And I don't know if Pitt can really, truly stop him. Okay? Versus any team who's actually good at running the football, they ran the ball on them. I don't care what there's 2.8 yards per carry. Yeah, go tell that to Jeremiah Love because he ran right through him. 56-yard touchdown right up the gut, spin move and all. All right? I don't know if Haynes is doing that. But now, for this Georgia Tech defense, I mean, you have not really been good all year. And this Pitt offense, they can sling it, right? And can you stop them? Can you get sacks? Can you get INTs? Because you don't get them for the most part. You do not get them, okay? So can you get those? Can you cause havoc? You're at home at night, ACC championship on the line, playoffs on the line. What are you going to do? Brent Key, how are you going to get these guys ready to go, okay? Because I trust you. I believe in you, all right? And I'm honestly picking you to win this game. What are you going to do to get them ready, all right? Now, it's just simple as that. Can you get picks and turnovers or sacks? Can you just cause havoc on the defensive side of the ball and do enough for that offense? I think their offense can move the ball because even if they do stop the run just a little bit, you got Eric Rivers, you got Rutherford, you got receivers who can make plays, okay? You got Haynes then. If you open up the pass, then you open up the run right back. I'm taking Georgia Tech, okay? You got the better offense in my mind, okay? You got the experienced quarterback versus the true freshman. All right, and I think that gives your defense a little boost because you are facing a true freshman who's coming off his worst possible game. How is he going to respond to that? You don't know how he's going to respond to that. I mean, he got pulled at the end of the game for Holstein. All right, how is he going to respond? Okay, he's 19 years old. That's a big deal. All right, now you got to go on the road after losing your biggest game of the year, basically. Now you're going on the road for your now biggest game of the year. And keep in mind, he still has Miami next week. Okay, how are you going to respond? And I think Brent Key's defense is going to respond in a great way towards that Pitt quarterback who does not respond well. Okay, I think Georgia, they gave up 34 last week to Boston College, almost got beat. I think they're going to be a lot better this week, both sides of the ball, obviously. And I think they're just going to beat Pitt. Okay, I'm not going to rule out 250 from Haynes passing, 100 yards rushing. I think he's just going to have another Haynes King type day, and they are going to win. I bet they get a pick, possible fumble, goal line stop. They're going to have at least 2 turnovers, maybe 3. If you want to count turnover on downs, give me 3 turnovers for Georgia Tech in this one, all right? I think they're going to come out. Big game, man. I mean, it's the best team, both of them. It's the best team Pitt's played on the road. They played Notre Dame last week. I can say it's the best team they played. Best team they played on the road, easy. Georgia Tech's, this is the best team they've played all year, okay? Pitt is the best team they played all year. What is that saying? I don't know. They both got one ACC loss, and the ACC has been absolute chaos. So give me the one man I know that you can truly rely on, and that is Haynes King, because that man's going to run through you, okay? He may not look it. Haynes King's a baller, dude. He may not throw the ball great, but he will run that damn ball. All right? Give me Georgia Tech at home at night. BYU Cincinnati. Oh, my God. We talked about the ACC chaos. This one is absolutely chaotic, okay? I want to say what it comes down to is, can BYU run the ball? And if they can, hell yeah. But, I mean, if you go look at Cinci's defensive stats, they're terrible. I mean, they're not great at all. But they shut down Baylor's offense. And last time I checked, Baylor has a pretty dang good offense, and not a lot of people have really stopped, okay? And they shut it down. They held Sawyer Robinson on 150 passing. And I know I was talking about rushing, but if you can stop the run versus BYU, you're going to make Bear become a passer. You make Bear become a passer, I think you're going to open yourself up to causing more mistakes, causing turnovers, causing havoc. You're at home. This is big, all right? BYU ain't been as good on the road. 24-21 win at Colorado. They trailed until the middle of the third quarter. Arizona, you went to overtime, okay, on the road, 33-20. You got the win, but you were in overtime. You tied it up with 19 seconds left, okay? Iowa State, you're tied going into the fourth, and you got some things bounce your way. You won the game. Simple as that, okay? That's the only one that you kind of truly just won. You just truly won in Iowa State. The other two, it was risky and like you didn't know, right? You never just were dominant. In Cincinnati, they ain't out of this yet. If they win this game, you could cause unlimited tiebreakers, and I ain't even going to get on into it yet. It is absolute chaos. And I'm going to treat it this way. Throw out the stats, all right? I don't care what either team has done. I don't care what the matchup is. I'm being honest with you. I don't think it really matters, right? I mean, Cincinnati's defense, they're 90th against the run. They're 109th against the pass. They don't get turnovers. I don't really think it matters this game, to be honest with you, okay? I think it's solely of who wants it more, all right? Cincinnati just got beat at home by Arizona, and before that, all they had to do was win this game, and they're in the Big 12 championship possibly, all right? But now that's off the table. Now they have to win this game to even have a possible chance at it, all right? And that's still with all kinds of crazy tiebreakers. But you know what they can do? They can ruin BYU's season, all right? So if you're telling me I get a shot to ruin somebody's season, I might get in that Big 12 championship, hell yeah. You have nothing to lose at this point. BYU has everything to lose. They lose this game, they may not go. Okay, they're going to end up losing on tiebreakers possibly, and then they may not go to the Big 12 championship, and they've been in the driver's seat for it all year until they went to Lubbock. All right? I think it's throw the record out game. Simple as that. Throw the record out. Throw everything out. Who wants it more? All right? And Utah, they're probably going to be watching this one pretty hard. All right? It's their only chance to really get in because I don't know who BYU plays next off the top of my head. I'll look at it in a minute. But it's a big one. It may not seem like it. See, I mean, everyone's like, oh, Cinci, that. I mean, yeah, they almost mathematically are, okay? They got to have a lot of things fall their way, even get in the Big 12 championship, I think. But I'm not ruling it out. And, I mean, I don't know if this BYU's team is really like that. I don't think they are. I think they got 3, like, really good players, and they're coached really well, and they play hard, and things just happen to fall their way, okay? I'm not making a pick on this game because I have no clue. I'm not going to lie to you. It's solely of who wants it more. BYU could win this game in a blowout. It could be a dogfight and a game-winning field goal type game. I don't know. We will see. All right. All righty. That's it for like the true breakdowns. Little quick touch on all these games. Texas and Arkansas. Can Texas offense come alive? Okay. And the sad part is it might be a look-ahead spot. You're 8-3, and you might be in a look-ahead spot looking towards next week with Texas A&M. I mean, that's the biggest game on their schedule at this point because the playoffs are almost basically out of the question. But can their offense figure something out? Even if it's for next year, if it's for next week, I don't know. Can their offense figure something out? Because they looked awful last week. Simple as that. The offensive line ain't good. I mean, you gave up 3 sacks to Georgia. After you played good versus Van, that's the part I just question it. We'll know later, but could it be a look-ahead spot, or is it a get-right spot before you play A&M? I don't know. This Arkansas defense has struggled, but they've started to play better since coaching firing, okay? So, big one here. It's at Texas. You're 9-point favorites. But this Arkansas offense is great. Now, I don't know about Anthony Hill. I don't know his status. I know he broke his hand. I mean, I see Arkansas making this a game, absolutely, especially if Texas is just worried about A&M at this point. Then, yeah, they're going to be – it could be a game. Arkansas has that type of offense. They have Taylor Green. They can make plays happen. This Texas defense has been susceptible to the pass recently, okay? I mean, Georgia just dropped 35 on their head. Vandy scored 31. They've been susceptible to giving up points, okay? Arkansas could score. They would. I'm not going to rule it out. I ain't touching it. But, yeah, simple as that. I could see it being a ball game. I could see Texas just totally stopping them out. Depends on what Texas we're going to get. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. Good Texas shows up, they win easy. Bad Texas shows up, we got a ball game. Simple as that. All right? Vandy and Kentucky. Kentucky's playing a little good ball lately. They got 3 wins in a row. All right? I know one came against FCS. The FCS team was undefeated. All right? Vandy's still trying to make the playoff. They need to win this game. They're just on the outside looking in right now. I think they're number 13 to be. I want to say it's 13, okay? Right behind BYU and Utah. All right? Kentucky run D is good. This Vandy offense rolls through the run. I mean, it could be tricky. It could be tricky. And everybody's like, Kentucky? Really? I mean, Vandy's French playoff team, Kentucky? Yeah. Yeah, I really think so. It could be. It could be. I am not saying it is. Okay, listen, I think this is the best team Kentucky's played since they played Tennessee and got ransacked, okay? And they're better than the last 3 teams they've played. Okay, this ain't Auburn. Okay, this ain't Florida. This ain't an FCS school. This is Vanderbilt. Jesus. Imagine saying that sentence like 10 years ago. This ain't Auburn. This ain't Florida. This is Vanderbilt. Yeah, no. Jesus Christ. How times have changed. But yeah, I think Vandy is just, they're going to win this game, honestly. I think Kentucky has a little bit of a letdown. That or they just keep building off their momentum. But I would take Vandy to win. Vandy's going to win this football game, okay? It might be ugly, it might be nasty, and it might be in a blowout. I honestly can't tell you. I don't know. Can Cutter Boley and this offense do enough? I don't know. We'll see. Kentucky watching a little football right now. They're not fully tuned into basketball yet because their offense and their team finally came alive. So we'll see. Okay. Utah, Kansas State. Utah is minus 17.5 versus Kansas State. It's a must-win game. I think Utah, you got to wreck them. Simple as that. You got to just run through them, okay? Because you're on the outside looking in. You need BYU to lose since you dropped that game. You got to keep winning, and you got to keep winning big. You won big over Baylor. You won big the week over Cincinnati. You're winning big. Keep doing it. You got to keep doing a job. I mean, Utah's defense is solid when they're at home. They are a great football team, except when they play Tech. Kansas State has struggled to stop the run. Kansas State struggled to stop really anyone for the most part. They're ranked 78th in the pass and rushing defense. Utah can run the football. Utah can stop you in whatever you're doing offensively, and Kansas State don't have the best offense. Give me Utah to win. They need to cover. Don't get me wrong. You need to win that game by 20-plus, easy. And I think they can. Avery Johnson caused turnovers. We'll see what happens, right? Michigan at Maryland. It's a look-ahead spot. Simple as that. You got Ohio State next week. Maryland's lost 6 in a row. Michigan almost choked away a win last week, but they got it done. But I'm just going to put this out there. Even if it is a look-ahead spot, Maryland's run D is awful. And Michigan lives off the run. Michigan just handed off 30 times, 40 times this game. Okay? You run the ball 40 times, you're probably going to win. You should win. Maryland's lost 6 in a row for a reason. Make it 7. All right? You got a big game next week. Don't let me down. Houston, TCU. Okay? Houston, as I said earlier, there could be like 4 or 5 2-loss Big 12 teams fighting for that tiebreaker. Who's going to get it? Houston's one of those. They need this game. All right? You got TCU at home. TCU kind of started to fall off. Lost 2 in a row. Lost to Iowa State. They lost to BYU. And now you got Houston. Who is susceptible? I'm not going to lie, but Houston finds a way to win. Willie Fritz and that team, they're tough. They're hard-nosed. And this TCU team is flashy. They're slinging the ball around. They're fun. It's going to be a good game to watch, just being honest. It's going to be fun. All right? I am not picking a winner in that one. I'm going to watch that one with enjoyment. Whew. Man, I like this TCU offense, this Houston team. They're defensive first type, but they can score a little bit. I don't know. We'll see what happens, all right? Tennessee and Florida. All right, since 2021, when Josh Heupel's been there, his first year there, Florida beat him 38-14. His second year at Tennessee won 38-33 in a close game. All right. Then at Florida in 2023, Florida wins 29-16. And then last year at Tennessee, it's 23-17. Tennessee wins. All right. So what I'm getting at here is Florida either wins, we have a close game. All right. And I don't know if you remember this or not. Florida hasn't been the best team recently. All right. And now they're only laying 4 points on the road at Florida. Yeah, give me Florida to cover. I ain't saying they win, but I think they give them a ball game. Listen, they gave Ole Miss halfway of a ball game last week, but for some reason they play Josh Heupel and this Tennessee team really good, and I think Florida's going to play them really good once again. Give me Florida. We're going to get a good game from DJ Lagway for the most part. This Tennessee defense ain't what it's been, and Florida, honestly, they got a couple receivers, and then the quarterback loves to sling it. Now, if it's to the right team, we don't know. But you got Ball. I like Florida in this spot. Give me them to cover. Simple as that. All right. Friday night, North Carolina State plus 4.5 at home versus Florida State. Give me North Carolina State. All right. I don't like this Florida State team. I didn't like them in the summer, and then they beat Alabama, and I kind of felt stupid, and then the wheels fell off. And I was like, okay, I wasn't stupid. They're 5-5 right now. NC State upset Georgia Tech, and they got blown out. And then Florida State, they got beat by Clemson, and they won in a blowout, blah, 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 blah. I think North Carolina State wins this game, okay? Norvell's coaching for his job. North Carolina State, nothing to lose. C.J. Bailey, he might be looking for the portal. Who knows? I'm not going to speculate on all that. I don't know. But fact of the matter is, NC State got playmakers. NC State is at home. They're only catching 4.5. I take them to win. I like this NC State team. They're fun. Go watch them. They're fun to watch. They might put up who knows how much. I mean, and also, my main reason for this is Florida State is a run-first team. Are they not? Okay. You got a 5'8" quarterback. He's about my size playing quarterback. Yeah. They run the ball all the time, right? NC State just beat a team who runs the ball all the time. Georgia Tech, when they were at home. All right, it wouldn't shock me again. They just roll up, do the same type of game plan. Florida State defense is probably a little better than Georgia Tech's, but you know what? They're 5-5. Their season's already blown up, and there's no saving it. Give me North Carolina State. Simple as that. Ohio State, they're going to roll Rutgers. I ain't going to talk about it. They're going to roll them. Northwestern versus Minnesota. Hard-nosed, gritty type game, okay? When you think of both these teams, that's what you kind of think of. Northwestern's came up short the last couple weeks. I think they get it done this week. Iowa State versus Kansas. Iowa State, are they back on track? They beat TCU, right? And then who else did they beat somebody last week, didn't they? I'm going mind blank, and I ain't going to sit here and think on it because I got other stuff to talk about. Iowa State's going to beat Kansas. They're at home. I like Matt Kimball's one of the best coaches in the country. Give me Iowa State. Arizona Baylor, you got a good offense versus a good defense, okay? Arizona just coming off a big win. They're back at home. Is this a letdown spot? I don't know. I'm not going to trust this Baylor defense versus anyone, though, okay? So if you had to pick it, I would take Arizona. Notre Dame versus Syracuse, yeah, it's going to be bad. That is a big spread. Minus 35.5. It might be bigger now. I mean, I wrote this down like 3 days ago. That's a big spread. Honest, it wouldn't shock me if Notre Dame beat them by 50. All right, Syracuse is awful. Poor guys. South Carolina versus Coastal. Like I said, it's SEC Cupcake Week, baby. And I think Coastal might have the best shot at all the cupcakes to win. Okay, South Carolina, how do you respond after one of the worst losses you could have ever experienced as a program? You're up 30-3 and lost. But how do you respond? If you come back firing on all cylinders, you might beat the ever-living crap out of Coastal. Or do you fall off? Like you just take that loss to heart, truly to heart, and Coastal beats you or covers. I don't know, okay? But talent-wise, South Carolina should roll, but you never know, okay? Penn State versus Nebraska. Oh, man, what could have been? This could have been Drew Aller versus Dylan Raiola. This could have been a battle of top 10 teams, and it's not, man. And I would say, like, listen, they got hurt and they fell off. No, I mean, these teams fell off before their teams got hurt. I mean, Nebraska started to fight their way back into it, but they lost to Minnesota on a Friday night. Penn State, as you know, they lost to Oregon, and that just broke their team. And then they used UCLA. Then they lose to Northwestern. And then they lose to Iowa. I mean, the season's over. But they almost beat Indiana. You can hang your hat on that, I guess. What could have been in this game? I mean, Penn State favored by 9.5. Jesus. I'm not touching that game. But y'all have fun with it. What could have been? Man, that could have been a big one. James Franklin versus Matt Rule. And then Franklin's fired and Rule got a contract extension. Wow. Anyways, Illinois, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not a rollover, folks. It's at Wisconsin. I'm not going to roll them out. I haven't bet it yet, but if I did, I might take Wisconsin to cover. Right? I mean, they beat Washington. I wouldn't rule it out. This Illinois team is not, like, perfect, okay? I mean, they've gotten beat their fair share, and they've all been on the road just about. All right? Tulane versus Temple. Give me Tulane. Okay, another big American game. North Texas minus 18.5 at Rice. All right, Tulane's going to win theirs. North Texas probably going to win theirs. But, hey, watch out for Rice. They're a little sketchy, all right? They might cover. But for game-wise, that's all we really got. I'm not going to go into all these other little games. I could break down A&M and Samford if you want. Jimbo Fisher's son's like the kicker. I'm excited for that game. As an Aggie fan, I get to watch. I mean, I'm going to watch our freshmen, our future, play a lot of that game. So, I mean, that one's exciting, okay? It's not really exciting at all, but that part is. Let's get into championship weekend scenarios, all right? Big 12. We talked about the chaos a minute ago. I think Tech, they're basically a lot, all right? BYU is sitting at 6-1. Utah 5-2, Houston 5-2, Arizona State 5-2, Cincinnati 5-2. BYU has Cinci and UCF. Yeah, UCF, I think only one of those games is losable, and that's one this week versus Cincinnati. Utah, you got Kansas State, and then at Kansas. You should win both of those. Houston, you got TCU, and then at Baylor. Both of those are losable games. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, Arizona State, you're at Colorado. Did I write Arizona State twice? Okay, whatever. Cincinnati, I don't even. Hold up, timeout. Until we get there. Arizona State. I want to be right on this. I just literally wrote ASU. Arizona. Okay, that's why I screwed up. All right. Arizona State versus Arizona. It's rivalry week. Where's my head? I should know that. Jesus. Cincinnati has BYU and TCU, okay? I am not going to lie to you. I want to see Utah in the Big 12 championship. I really do, okay? I think they're the one team that in the Big 12 that could compete with Tech. I know they lost to Tech bad. I know they got beat by BYU on the road. I think they're the one team that can truly compete with Tech, okay? Call me crazy. I think they had a terrible offensive game plan when they played Tech at home, and then the defense was doing fine, and then they just got gassed out from this offense doing absolutely nothing, and then Will Hammond turned into Tom Brady, okay? And Tech rolled them. Simple as that. But I think Utah has the best chance to beat them. I'm not saying they do, but I do think they have the best chance, okay? There could be absolute chaos everywhere. Like I said, you got 5 teams. Now, some of them do play each other, and some playing losable games, blah, blah, blah. There's 5 teams that have the potential to get in off tiebreakers. 6 if you count Tech. I think Tech's a lot. Tech's fine, okay? Big 12, absolute chaos, okay? And then how's that going to affect the playoff the playoff, okay? BYU's 11, Utah is 12. Well, what if Utah say Utah gets in there and they win the Big 12 championship? Now you got 2 Big 12 teams, and right now you're only kind of thinking it's going to be a one-bid league. Well, it could be 2, okay? Then the ACC, let's get into that. You got Georgia Tech at 6-1. You got Virginia at 6-1. You got Pitt at 5-1. You got SMU at 5-1. And Miami is still alive at 4-2. They need absolute chaos, so don't get me wrong. Their chances of getting in are the lowest of the 5. I don't know if you knew that. Georgia Tech, they got to win versus Pitt, and I think they're in. I might be wrong. Virginia, you just got to beat Virginia Tech. Simple as that. Pitt, you got Georgia Tech and Miami. You have the toughest road. Simple as that. SMU, you got Louisville and Cal. Okay, both of those are losable games, though. I mean, Louisville's defense used to be good versus the pass, and then they played Cal, so I don't know. And then Miami, you got Virginia Tech and Pitt. Okay, there's no telling what is going to happen in this conference. If you tell me whatever weeks from now that Miami is in the conference championship, it would not shock me at all, because the ACC has been nothing but absolute chaos all year long. So why would it change right now when the whole thing's on the line? Why would it change? All right. I'm not even going to pick a team to be in it. Right now, the safest thing, and it's stupid to say safe in the ACC this year, is Georgia Tech and Virginia. But with that being said, Pitt could be Georgia Tech and then lose to Miami, and then SMU loses both games, and Virginia Tech beats Virginia, and Miami gets in. I don't know how that all works, but you see what I'm saying? All right, ACC, absolute chaos, and I'm always here for it. I would love chaos. All right, SEC, you had the most simplest one. And you're probably like, Big Ten, we'll get to that in a minute. SEC is very simple. A&M, you win and you're in. Imagine being 11-0 and you still haven't clinched the conference championship spot. But Alabama, you got to win. And then Ole Miss, you need Alabama and A&M to lose. Georgia, you need Bama or A&M to lose. Possible 3-way tie because Alabama and Ole Miss didn't play. And it's just all off percentage or something stupid. Most likely scenario is Aggies versus Alabama. It wouldn't shock me if it's A&M versus Georgia, okay? And then you might have Georgia versus Bama because Texas beats A&M. I don't know. I don't think so. We'll see. That one is the most simplest one. You got 4 teams. It's going to be one of those 4 or 2 of those 4. Simple as that. Most likely is Alabama and A&M, A&M and Georgia, Alabama and Georgia, and then Ole Miss fill in the blanks, okay? That's what you're going to get. Big Ten. Indiana has Purdue. Ohio State has Rutgers and Michigan. Both those went out there in. Simple as that. USC, though. USC is 6-1. They got Oregon, UCLA. If they can get by Oregon, they should be able to beat UCLA. Should. It's a rivalry game. Throw out the record type week. Anyway, Oregon, you're 6-1 as well. You got USC and Washington. That eliminate you. Whoever loses that game's out. Okay, and then you got Michigan. You're 6-1 as well. You got Maryland, Ohio State. Okay, imagine the chaos that will ensue if Michigan can win out. If you win out, you're 8-1 in conference. You have a win over Ohio State. You're in the playoff. You might, and depending on how USC ends, say USC loses to Oregon, and then I don't know how the tiebreaker would work with Oregon because you don't have a common opponent or nothing. But Michigan or Oregon could be in the conference championship versus Indiana instead of Ohio State. I don't really know. It could all, or the same thing with USC instead of Oregon. It could all be chaos. It's college football, man. We live for chaos, and chaos has ensued in college football, especially in November. I ain't going to rule it out. Okay? And Ohio State has yet to be punched in the mouth this year. What's going to happen when they go to Ann Arbor and Michigan punches them in the mouth? How are you going to respond? That is my big thing with Ohio State. Are they just so good that they're going to beat everybody and they're never going to get punched in the mouth? Possibly, yeah. I don't think so, but what is going to happen when you get punched in the mouth? I've seen what happened when Indiana gets punched in the mouth. I've seen what happened when A&M gets punched in the mouth. I've seen what happened when Georgia gets punched in the mouth. Okay? What are you going to do, Ohio State, when you get punched in the mouth? Because I think you're going to get punched in the mouth versus Michigan. Are you going to respond good and badass and go score up on Michigan, make up for all these years? Or are you going to be in another dogfight and you're going to lose on the road at Michigan? I don't know, okay? We'll see what happens. I just want to see what happens when they face true adversity, because their only true adversity was playing Purdue and just not scoring in the first quarter. Okay, that's not real deal adversity. I want to see what happens when you play a good team, you get punched in the mouth. Or just put yourself in a situation you're like, oh, and you don't need to do that. And I commend them for not being in that situation. Okay? And it should not be a knock at them like, hey, you haven't been in a situation, so I can't trust you. No, I just want to know how you're going to respond. Okay? They might not have a problem with it. Okay? They have they even trailed this year? I don't think so. So, like, the toughest game they played was Texas in week 1, and then they're going to get another tough game with Michigan. I don't care what anybody says. Throw out the talent, throw out the record. You saw that last year. Ohio State won the national championship, but they lost that game to a barely bowl-eligible Michigan. Okay? Throw out the record next week. What's going to happen when you get punched in the mouth, Ohio State? You are the best team in the country. You should deserve the number 1 ranking. You do a job every week. You blow out everybody. What is going to happen when you get punched in the mouth? Or can Michigan not even punch you in the mouth? Like Muhammad Ali in here and just can't hit them. G5 bid, okay? You got Tulane, you got North Texas, and you got JMU. It's one of those. Tulane has the highest rank right now. Tulane is 8-2 on the year, 5-1. They got what's going to happen is you're going to have Tulane versus North Texas, I would assume, the American Conference Championship. And whoever wins gets there. Now, if one of those drops another game, that's going to open a way for JMU to get in. Okay? But right now, my money would be on Tulane. I mean, they got a power 4 capable quarterback in Retzlaff. I mean, he played for BYU last year. You got a power 4 type head coach in Summerall. But North Texas, man, that's a fun team, man. But I also watched them get demolished by South Florida. And I just don't think they're ready for the moment yet, okay? But that freshman running back, Hawkins, he can play. The quarterback doesn't play a game in high school, never starts, and he can play, okay? North Texas is no slouch by any means. And honestly, if it came down to it, I mean, like I love to preach it. I don't care about your record. Once you get to the playoffs, once you get to the championship weekend, rivalry week on, your record doesn't mean a dang thing at all right? So, with that being said, I do think Tulane has better teams. That doesn't mean they win. Better teams don't always win, all right? And JMU might be better than both of them not getting in. Who knows, okay? It's crazy that the G5 and the SEC are the most, like, normal. And the Big Ten probably has, like, I would put a 70% chance on being very easy and very normal, okay? But the Big 12 and ACC, that could be absolute chaos. I mean, BYU could shut that all down and just beat Cincinnati this week, and it doesn't matter. But what if Cinci wins? If Cinci beats BYU and the ACC turns those two could be absolute freaking chaos. And I hadn't even got into the playoff picking who and what and when, okay? That could be even crazier because if you got 2 Big 12 teams, okay, that really screws some things up. What if the ACC just implodes on itself, okay? They implode on themselves and they're not a higher, or Tulane ends up being a conference champion ranked higher than any ACC champion. So in that case, Tulane gets in, and then Miami, are you the ACC bid? I don't know. Absolute chaos. It just blows your brain. Just go look at it. Read it all. It's going to blow your mind. All right? Wow. Well, I think that's it. All right. We're going to go over the playoff rankings real quick. Let me pull them up. Go back. Boom, boom, boom. Give me my rankings, bro. Where the hell are my ranks? Yeah. Come on. Piece of crap. All right. Number 1, Ohio State. No complaints. Listen, you're a defending national champion. Okay? You deserve to be number 1 until somebody shows that you shouldn't be. Okay? Like I preached earlier, you haven't been punched in the mouth. All right. Give me 2 things. 1, you haven't played anybody to punch you in the mouth. And 2, you're too good to be punched in the mouth. It's one of those 2. We'll see. Okay? Indiana, you're number 2. And you're doing a job. You've blown out multiple teams. You do what you're supposed to do every week. And then the almost slip up, you pulled off the win in Happy Valley or at Penn State. All right? So I'm not going to argue it if you put A&M at 2. I'm not going to argue it if you put Indiana at 2. I'm not going to argue, okay? I do think Ohio State should be 1. I ain't going to lie there. You should leave them at 1. I don't care that they haven't really played anybody. You're defending national championship. You deserve that spot until somebody takes it from you. Somebody should have to go up and take it from them, not you just give it away, okay? A&M at 3, like I said, you had the amazing comeback, and now you got Texas next week. You got to lock in, okay? And as an Aggie, I want to see them win. I want to see a 12-0 season go to the SEC championship and win. That'd be awesome. But you got to finish the job. Finish the job, Aggies. Number 4, Georgia. You jump up a little bit. You got a big win over Texas. Alabama loses. And now you might get a first-round bye. Wow, okay? What if Georgia doesn't make the SEC championship, but they get a first-round bye? See, I don't know with that one. I feel like the committee maybe, say Tech wins out, they beat whoever in the Big 12 championship very convincingly. Georgia does not play in it, and A&M does win the SEC championship. I think Tech might jump up to 4. It wouldn't shock me one bit, okay? Ole Miss at 6. Oregon at 7. This is where chaos could ensue. Listen, Ole Miss, you got Mississippi State, okay? Don't lose Mississippi State. It's that simple, okay? I wouldn't shock me if you have a close game and it's rivalry week, whatever. Just win the game. If you win the game, you're in. Oregon, though, you're number 7. You play number 15 in USC this week. Say USC beats them, how much does that shake this up? That moves OU up, that moves Notre Dame up, that moves Alabama up, assuming all these win. Okay. So, Oregon, chaos could ensue. Oklahoma, if you lose Missouri, you're out. Simple as that. So, we could potentially have number 7 and number 8. 11, 12, 13, 14. Basically from 7 back, you are not safe. Put it that way. Okay? I feel like you got to be top 10 to be guaranteed a spot. And, what if Alabama goes and loses to Auburn? That opens up another spot. Maybe Oregon gets to stay in, even if they lose this one. It's absolute chaos could ensue. And I don't think you either truly understand it or you have no idea how to understand it. Just know chaos. It is November. It is chaos. It is fun. It is exciting. If you're not a college football fan, I don't know what to tell you, man. Man, oh, man, oh, man. I can't wait. Listen, my show, it's not going to have a set time, set days. I've been trying to do this the last 2 days, but I work 2 days on, 4 days off, so I can't do it 2 days. I'm at the fire station. So when I'm home, I also work for my grandparents. And the last 2 nights, I've just been too tired. And my kid was whiny last night, so we didn't get around to it. So I made this on Thursday morning. Next week, though, it's rivalry week. I dropping videos every day. All right. Like, follow, comment, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. Thank you for any interaction. Thank you for all of it. Thanks for tuning in. Newtown signing out. I'll see y'all next week, or see Sunday, maybe. Maybe on Sunday. We'll do a recap, and then we're jumping right into rivalry week. This is one of my favorite weeks out of the year. It's just absolute madness. Throw out the records in some of the best football. You're going to see absolute dog fights, okay? You're going to see bad teams beat good teams, great teams being – it's awesome. I love rivalry week. I can't wait. All right. Thank you for tuning in.